friends and enemies. Welcome to NerdPod Generations, the YouTube channel. Here we are, testing out the waters of the YouTube verse. We're going to start out with something nice and easy. My name is Alfred Jutsum, and we're going to start out with a retro review of one of my favorite movies, The Blues Brothers. Now, this is a movie from 1980. This is a movie that stars John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, the great Carrie Fisher, and has many, many cameo appearances from any number of musical and film legends. This is a cartoon of a movie. I'm going to be very frank. This is not an actual cartoon, but this has all the feel of a cartoon. If you've ever seen Miyazaki protagonists, young protagonists, and how they're indestructible, they'll fall from buildings, they'll land on their heads, they'll have things land on their heads, and yet be fine. That's what we're looking at here. That's exactly what we're looking at here. No one seems to be able to be killed in this movie, but it's about two men who go on a mission from God to save an orphanage that they grew up in. And the way that they're going to do that is by putting on a concert, because that's what you do in movies. So these two go around Chicago collecting their bandmates and getting everything ready. Meanwhile, they're running from the cops because, they don't exactly have the most upstanding history. Jake, who is played by John Belushi, just getting out of prison, he has quite a history that follows him around, including in the form of Carrie Fisher, who plays an ex-girlfriend of his who desperately wants to kill him. And when I say desperately, I mean will find flamethrowers and rocket launchers and machine guns and really do anything it takes to kill this guy. It's a very madcap movie that's over the top and funny and silly, but it's also a musical on top of that, which is crazy to think about. But this is one of those musicals where they use a lot of old school R&B, early rock and roll feel for all the music, and it's excellent. And not only that, they have some of the biggest names in that era of music performing the songs. So you have Cab Calloway, you have Ray Charles, you have James Brown, you have Aretha Franklin. You have all these people coming in and performing and doing an incredible job in this very silly movie in between these moments. And then you go back to the madcap of this adventure that these two idiots are on, trying to save this orphanage for a nun who seems to have the power of God herself. And man, this is just one of those silly movies that's just fun to watch, and it just leaves you with a smile on your face. There's so many moments where you're just watching it and you're like, what is happening? And I mean that in two ways. In the first way, there's the very honest, what is happening? Where things will be occurring, and the next thing you know, a car is doing a backflip. And there's really no explanation as to how, why, or in what capacity it was able to do that. And that happens like 3 or 4 times. not backflips particularly, but that kind of action of just like, wait, what just happened? And 2, you have the amazing physical performance of John Belushi in this film, which is the other part where you're like, what just happened? Because this dude, who's a big guy, he's bigger than me. He's doing handsprings, he's doing backflips, he's doing cartwheels, he's getting all over the place. And he's giving just this amazing out there performance that is just all at once over the top and crazy subtle, because the characters themselves aren't big characters, but they do these crazy silly things. So they're very quiet and reserved characters usually in terms of how they speak. And then they have these big moments where they perform, but also these big moments where like just the comedy gods come for them and zany actions ensue. Because literally no one dies in this movie, even as, bombs go off, explosions happen, and an enormous amount of cars are destroyed. I don't want to ruin anything, but at the end of this movie is one of the greatest car chases of all time. And I mean that mainly in how many cars are destroyed. It's insane. I believe it's over 100 cars are destroyed at the end of this movie. And man, I don't know where they found all those cars. I remember reading that all the cars were pretty much unusable by the end of the film. And I believe it, because you got people driving through malls, you got people driving through city centers, you got people flying through the air in cars, just being dropped from the skies of Chicago through the pavement. It's insane. This is a fun, antic-filled film that is definitely something that you should check out. It's the living embodiment of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and John Landis is just coming in and doing his thing where it's funny and it's heartfelt. His son Max Landis has really done the genre bending well, but this is its own kind of genre bending where it rewrites the rules of what these films could be and what kind of things can and should happen in them, because there's no real consequence to anything that happens in the film, and you don't really care. It's not important that there's consequence to what happens in the film. Like I said, it's kind of a cartoon. So in that way, I love it for that. It reminds me a lot of Wes Anderson. I would love to see this movie remade in one of two ways. One, I would love to see Wes Anderson's version of the Blues Brothers. I think that would just be silly and wonderful. There is a moment where, at the end, to start the car chase, it almost looks like a Wes Anderson film. They peel out from under a tunnel, and all of a sudden, all these cops come in from the sides of the frame and fill the frame around the tunnel and start blasting bullets at the camera. And it's just like, this is a Wes Anderson shot. This is straight up a Wes Anderson movie. But the other way that I would love to see it remade, as a every episode a musical kind of show. I think that's where it's really ripe to be remade, is as just like a silly comedy show, 40 minutes, 1-2 musical numbers per show. And it's just the antics of these two dudes going around trying to accomplish their various goals. And as long as you capture the feel and design and style of this, I think it would make a very entertaining show, even if you don't have John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd in the leads anymore. So that's it. That's Blues Brothers. Thank you for watching. I would give it a solid A, and I'd say check it out if you haven't, because it is hilarious and fun. I watched the unrated version. I would say do that because it is excellent and amplified by the unrated jokes that are in there, and it's not too ribald. There's a little ribald there, I'm not going to lie, but it's not too bad. So yeah, my name is Alfred Jutsum. That's our first retro review here on NerdPod Generations, and have a great day, friends and enemies.